All right. Well, I don't know if this is recording, but let's get into it. So basically, this is my project. It's called Harnessing the Power of Nazare. And here, let's go to slideshow. So yes, the project is about harnessing wave energy from Nazare in Portugal. And I think it'd be the best option for developing a consistent form of wave energy that could supply a consistent form of power. We're going to talk about wave energy in general, the overall energy potential that could be created by harnessing wave energy at this location. We're going to look into the advantages of implementing wave energy technology at Nazare, as long also the pitfalls and the hardships of doing such an endeavor, the methods of completion, and then the conclusion. All right. Well, one image didn't show up here, but why I wanted to include this slide is just to show my general wave interest. These two pictures right here are pictures of me when I was a kid, just playing around in the waves and surfing. So pretty much my whole life, waves have uh, been around me. And seeming that this project was about energy, I was just like, cool, let's talk about um, harnessing wave energy at the largest wave in the world, which is, oh, there it is, which is Nazaré in Portugal. But to first start off, I wanted to explain what wave energy even is. So it's just harnessing the kinetic motion of waves, because waves move, and that's kinetic motion, and deriving energy from that is wave energy. And wave energy comes from the raw power that's generated from the natural movement of the ocean surface. And this natural movement is caused by wind. As wind transfers energy into the water when it blows, it makes it move, and this movement creates wave motion, which can then be captured and converted into electricity. And these two images down below show kind of how that works. In image one or figure two, you have the wind blowing, wave motion created from the wind, and wave energy converters capturing that motion and putting that power back into the grid so we can get energy from it. So, the general advantages of wave energy is something I wanted to talk about because it's a renewable source. It's complementary to other renewables. So, you could like stack wave energy, wind energy, geothermal, etc., making a more wider array of energy sources that are all renewable. It actually has one of the highest energy capacities out of any other renewable source, and it requires minimal land use because it's obviously in the ocean, and it's largely untapped, which is also exciting and also kind of a factor in why it hasn't been so ramped up yet. But in this image, as you can see, this is just representing a wave uh, installed capacity potential for each country. The reason why the UK is so big because they invented the Palamas wave energy converter, which I'll be talking about later in the presentation. But as you can see, Portugal is in the gray, and from 2018 and up, it spikes very high. So um, that's pretty good for the general advantages. And tying this back to the place of location I'm looking at, Nazare, it's the reason I wanted to talk about wave energy here is because the conditions are so ideal for it. It's wave height and intensity are consistent year round. The location is absolutely perfect because the westerly winds blow directly towards Portugal, and this constant wind drives constant wave motion, which, if wave energy were implemented here, would supply a steady and consistent form of power. Um, and the high energy potential is also very surprising. An estimated 2,000 megawatts of wave power capacity per year is estimated to be generated from the conditions at Nazare. And per the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, 1,000 megawatts is equal to the amount of power consumed by 900,000 homes in the Northeast and 460,000 homes in the South, which is pretty insane. That's a lot of power. And if this power could be implemented at Nazare, or if the wave energy technology could be implemented here, rather, the power coming from that could practically supply the whole coast of Portugal, at least in that area, not to mention business and industry, which is pretty huge for renewables. And of course, with any large scale endeavor, there's pitfalls. Obviously, there are advantages to wave energy, but there's also disadvantages, like limitations in technology. The technology lacks a sound method of development, meaning that like a lot of the technology coming out for wave energy converters are testers. Most devices are experimental. They don't have a, it's like if you have a manual on how to build a specific type of car, you're probably going to make more of those cars because you have a systematic way to build it. But this lacks in wave energy development, which is one pitfall. Another one is environmental restraints. The European environmental agencies has a 2,900 square kilometer protection zone on the coast of Portugal, limiting industrial projects. So even if we wanted to install wave devices at Nazare, this would be one restraint because a lot of protections go into maintaining biodiversity and maintaining various bird species that live along the coast. So just environmental restrictions are uh, uh, a burden in developing wave energy technology. In addition, the high costs are another pitfall. It's expensive, and maintenance once the devices are built it's pretty tough. And then also we're kind of behind on time. So this is coming from the We Forum, the World Economic Forum. They're saying for a net zero goal by 2050, which is what many countries are trying to obtain, the ocean power generation needs to increase 33%. So this is what this next image explains. This is the graph showing, you know, like the upscale of wave energy. As you can see, from 2000 to 2020, it's ramped up a little bit. But in order to get that net zero emissions by 2050, we would have to ramp up wave energy 33% by 2030. So we would have to basically totally invest in it to be meeting carbon neutrality goals. And that's just another problem of why it hasn't been implemented just yet. But just because something's hard and it hasn't really developed yet doesn't mean that it's not possible to implement. So, as far as the methods go of harnessing wave energy, there's many different methods, but two on this slide are point absorbers. So, these are the one you see in the top right. It's a buoy-like device that drives a hydraulic motor inside when the water moves up and down. This generates electricity. Another type is OWCs, or oscillating water chambers or columns. Water enters and exits, and it raises a column, decompressing and compressing air. And this movement of air drives a turbine, which generates power. This is another method. But the most promising method in the case of Nazare would be wave attenuators. I'm pretty sure they're pronounced. But the reason they're most promising is because they're actually already implemented near Portugal. A device called the Palamas Wave Converter was implemented here, and it's actually successfully transferred power to the power grid from the machine, which is pretty impressive. But in general, these are kind of like, they look kind of like snakes or a chain like device connected by joints. And there's a hydraulic ram at each joint. And high pressure fluid is pumped through these jams into a hydraulic motor and then into a generator, which creates power. So it's actually pretty innovative, and a really what's the word, advantage, a good advantage of these machines is that they can be connected from a very, very, very offshore all the way to the near shore. So in the case of Nazare, if you could install a couple of these offshore, lead them all the way to the near shore, it would really supply steady and consistent electrical power in, the 2000 megawatt capacity per year is pretty high. So really the potential for all of this is actually really promising in terms of not just renewable energy, but developing wave energy as well. So in conclusion, harnessing wave energy from Nazare is it's a very compelling and exciting opportunity in terms of renewable energy due to the natural conditions of consistent and steady wave production because of the westerly winds and also the heightened swells that occur there year round. This plays into the strategic location. Also, the high and consistent energy potential of 2,000 megawatts per year is it's pretty nice in terms of energy potential. And although challenges remain, which include technological limits, environmental restrictions, and high costs, I really think the pros outweigh the cons because we can't run everything off fossil fuels forever. And looking into renewable sources for energy, it's important and it's on the rise. And also, implementation of such a device could enable Portugal to lead the way in wave energy production and also inspire other countries to do the same. I think it really just takes one person to really dedicate to it and try it out, and then other countries would maybe feel obligated to do it or feel like they have the potential to do it. It's just that nothing has really been done in a big effort yet. So that's why I'm claiming that doing such a thing at this site would really be revolutionary in wave energy production. And since all the continents are surrounded by oceans, so this energy method could really become necessary in the future as a renewable energy source and supplement some of the fossil fuel, you know, takeover. We could kind of use more wave energy rather than fossil fuels because fossil fuels are non-renewable and produce carbon, and wave energy is carbon neutral and it's renewable. And doing so would be a pretty big step forward toward a resilient and sustainable future for energy production. So, yeah, that is my presentation.